This video is brought to you by...
Hey, what's up? What it is? Yeah, it's your boy AC Green. And we at the end of the year again. And what I came to do is to come and thank you personally for supporting the brand all year long. And also what we want to do over here at Cool Green Clothing to show to you our appreciation and love and support for you that you've been having for us all year long. What we're going to do is we're going to kick Black Friday off early just for you. So go online right now at coolgreenclothing.com and take advantage of these amazing sales that we got going on right now. And also, by the way, you already know, if you ain't cool and getting the green, you're in the way. And that's just basic.
What's going on, YouTube fam? It's your boy Tony 2 times, and we back with another episode of the Baltimore Way, man. Before I start, be sure to tap that like button. Definitely watch this video to the end to hear the full story and all the details in the case. For the day one fam, y'all already know it's all love. Thanks for tuning back into another episode. If you're new to the channel and you feeling the content, feel free to subscribe. Definitely hit that notification bell so you can be notified every time we drop a new video. Let's get right into the story. When most people wake up every day, go to their 9 to 5s and punch that clock, you might feel like, I don't want to be here, but I gotta make a living to survive. And even though we might complain at the end of a work day, it's a feeling of gratitude, and you even pat yourself on the back for another day, another dollar. We all have worked in environments that's frustrating. You might not like your co-workers, your boss might be a clown, but unless you choose to hit the streets or do something else, like the old saying goes, if you don't work, you don't eat. So petty things seem not to matter in the grand scheme of life. Some get frustrated with working every day and still not getting by, while some people choose to work multiple jobs or even get a side hustle for extra income. Others might peep a loophole at their current place of employment to make something shake. Whether it's small things like getting a co-worker to clock you in to get some extra hours to make that check look better, or things like stealing. Depending on where you work at, it could be money, products, or anything. You might think it's a big company with money, I need it more than they do. But the main thing in life when you choose to do wrong is, can you handle the consequences behind your actions? And on this episode of the Baltimore Way, we'll take it all the way back to 2006 to discuss a case of a woman who used her cousin as a hitman to get rid of her boss. Back in 2006, Dr. Albert Rowe was 51 years old and had worked his way up in the world since him and his family migrated to Baltimore in 1970 from South Korea. After moving around the city, he would finally find his way after high school, enrolling in Washington College on the Eastern Shore, where he studied biology, then going to the University of Maryland Dental School, where Albert graduated in 1982. By 1984, he made it official after receiving his Maryland State dental license. After that, Albert decided to go to the Air Force for a few years. But when he came back to Maryland, he chose to focus on himself and his Korean American community, from donating to churches, helping his peoples, but his main goal was getting his dentist practice off the ground, in which by 2006, Albert had a successful practice with his main office being in Lutherville and another branch located on the 1400 block of North Crane Highway in Glen Burnie, Maryland. The business was going good, and at his Glen Burnie location, Albert had a dental assistant from Baltimore working for him. At the time, 30-year-old Shantae Hickman. Shantae was said to be a regular young lady, hard-working and a good assistant. It seemed Albert had achieved the American dream, and outside of his wife and his 2 sons, the office was his pride and joy. But things would take a bizarre turn. On September 26, 2006, it was getting late into the night. At almost 8 p.m., Albert's wife tried calling him and the office phone with no response. Worried, she contacted police and they headed to the office. Noticing something seemed off, now almost 10 p.m., way past business hours, police entered the building to find Albert cut over 39 times and severely beat. Unfortunately, he was pronounced gone on the scene. His family and community was devastated and confused who would do this to the well-respected dentist. After speaking with co-workers, no one seemed to know anything or have any answers. Other than they know, it was a brutal attack. As evidence was taken from the office, it seemed detectives had no motives or suspects. And for everybody else, life went on. Shantae kept pushing, and 4 years would pass, seeming like the case was cold. In 2010, a fingerprint that was found on the crime scene was ran back through the database. This time, they got a hit of a man named Dante Jeter, 24 years old, from Baltimore. The crazy thing was, Dante was already serving 60 years, sentenced for a hit on a man named Tyrone Freeman back in 2008 over an alleged $150 drug debt. Detectives took their time and didn't question Dante right away. Instead, they realized they might have found the connection. Dante was Shantae's little cousin. Police had already been looking into the young lady for years, but had no hard evidence, other than the fact she had deposited over $17,000 worth of checks into her bank account while working at the dentist's office. Police eventually located Shantae and took her in for questioning. She admitted to stealing over 28 checks. Patients had complained about still receiving dentist bills even though them or their insurance had already paid it. After going through the records, Albert got suspicious. Scared she would be arrested or have to pay back all that money, Shantae called her cousin Dante and told him, "I got a stack for you, or $1,000 if you take care of something for me." The day of the hit, Shantae left work early and went to pick up her little cousin and 2 more men. They drove back to the office and entered right around 5 p.m. That's when she stated everything took place. With that information, police charged both cousins with the hit on Albert. Dante never spoke and maintained his innocence. Shantae would plead guilty in 2012 to being the mastermind of the hit for hire after embezzling money from her job. She apologized to Albert's family and stated she admitted to everything so they could have closure. Also, so she can get the situation off of her chest, even though she stated she knew she would have to answer to a higher power one day. With that, Shantae was given a life sentence, but she would work out a deal. With Dante not saying anything and prosecutors only having a fingerprint, they needed Shantae to testify on her little cousin, in which she agreed. During his trial, she laid everything out. How she called them, picked him and his friends up, and how they did that to Albert, even with the man begging for his life. She pointed her cousin out in the courtroom, but she claimed not to know the other 2 people involved. With her testimony, Dante received 2 consecutive life sentences without the possibility of parole. The state wanted the names of the other 2 men, but were never able to get that information. Just 1 year after being sentenced for her cooperation, Shantae's sentence was reduced from life to 40 years. Dante attempted to appeal his conviction as well, but it was upheld. Rest in peace to Albert. I send my prayers and condolences to his family. It's sad when a person loses their life for nothing, or the next person did something they couldn't handle. Shantae went from a civilian with a decent job to a cold hitter within a short time, all because she was stealing and didn't want to go to jail. But she turned a petty crime that carried maybe like a year in jail or probation to a hit for hire plot. I can only imagine the look on Dante's face watching his big cousin point him out after he helped her, even though he already had 60 slices. It was still hope, but that $1,000 he was paid sealed his fate. For him, probably never hitting the streets again. A lot of people do things not prepared to face the consequences. For every action is a reaction. And if you know you're not ready to deal with the consequences of what you are doing, you might as well save yourself some time and trouble and just leave it alone. Yeah, man. Crazy story. I ain't gonna talk too much more about this one. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Definitely be respectful. I appreciate you if you made it to the end. That's another episode of the Baltimore Way. It's your boy Tony 2 times. Love, fam. I'm out.